Let's cross up to Queensland now, up to Bundaberg and catch up with Nationals MP, former Resources Minister Keith Pitt. Good to talk to you, Keith. I've got to ask you about this methane pledge from this government, and they're trying to dismiss this. They're trying to say it's fear-mongering. But how on earth does our livestock industry in this country forge ahead when there's the threat of some sort of methane tax hanging over them?
Well, Chris, it's great to be with you, and I'll tell you how ridiculous it is. There's roughly 25 million plus feral pigs in this country, and there's about 2.4 million under domestic production, according to Australia Pork. But you don't count the methane from the ferals. You don't worry about them. Apparently, they're fine. They must be better behaved than our domestic pigs. It's only our domestic livestock which is counted and impacted. And you know, out there with the T-bone tax, I mean, I saw Murray Watt today and his claims that it's a national scare campaign. Well, I'll tell you the reality. The Environmental Defender's Office will take our biggest producers to court and claim they're not meeting the requirements of the international treaty and tie them up in red and green tape and put them out of business.
Do you reckon Murray Watt would know a jersey from a drought master?
He might know a football jersey, perhaps. Down the Gold Coast there, I'm sure he's close. But this is just the reality. Their plan will make it harder to be in production in this country for livestock, whether it's cattle or pork or others. And the reality is very, very straightforward. These things have a direct impact. They always turn into a mandatory requirement. And if it's only a guideline that's not necessary, then don't sign.
Yeah, well, everyone tries to laugh it off and then it becomes a reality, just like they used to laugh off talk of a carbon tax. Have a look at Johannes Leek's cartoon in The Australian today, which gets to this with some pretty crude language. Talks about the methane target. It's aspirational and non-binding. Sounds like a bit of piss and wind, says the farmer. And yes, it's just a brain fart is the kicker there from Johannes. Fantastic stuff. But it's a brain fart that could become a reality because some countries are doing it, and if the UN wants it, Labor wants to sign up to it when it comes to climate change. I want to switch to the economy, though, and talk about the big picture leading up to the budget later this month. And Jim Chalmers is in Washington, again sounding the drums of doom. Here he is, the Treasurer.
We are treading a narrower, more perilous path when it comes to the global economy. The best defence against global economic uncertainty is responsible budgets. Budgets cannot be irresponsible, they can't be untargeted, they can't be excessive when it comes to the support that's provided to our citizens.
Softening everybody up there, Keith Pitt, but he's right about the international outlook, isn't he?
Well, we've certainly seen inflation running away in the United States. But you've been around a while, Chris. When's the last time you remember a Treasurer from Australia leaving the country a handful of days from actually issuing the budget? It's unheard of. And the danger here is that Jim Chalmers will talk Australia into a recession. You know, people look for the government to lead. They look for the government to provide confidence on the economy. And we left the Australian economy in a very, very strong position. Just look at resources alone. Their forecast for this financial year is going to go to $450 billion. That is just phenomenal.
Well, my point about the economy and inflation and all the pressures on medium-term pressures on our economy is that a lot of the factors he's talking about globally we can't change. But one of the things our governments can change is affordable, reliable energy. And that's all going in the wrong direction. And that's fueling inflation and also making life very, very tough for small business and families.
Oh, that's exactly right. You've got unemployment under 4%. Interest rates are increasing. You've got gas prices $40 plus on the international market. That will have a direct impact on electricity. You've got industry saying at least a 35% increase. All in an environment where federal Labor went to the campaign saying they'd put prices down by $200 odd. This is clearly not going to happen. They need to get a hold of the economy and keep it under control.
Yeah, that's the one thing where some action could actually help. Thanks for joining us, Keith. Have a good weekend.
It's great to be with you.